Ladies and gentlemen, one comment that I come across far too often on my videos about the Baofeng UV-5R and similar radios is people complaining that these radios are junk because I don't hear anything on mine. And now I am currently talking and saying words just to give you time to read some of those comments, because after all, I had to read them, so you should also be forced to read them so that you can feel my pain. I am now almost done saying the words that are coming out my mouth, but not quite yet because the words are still coming out my mouth. Anyway, in this video, because I am a helpful and loving radio expert, I am going to respond to all of those comments. And if you too are experiencing the heartbreaking condition of not hearing anything on your Baofeng UV-5R or similar radio, fear not, because if you listen closely and pay attention to all of the words that I say in this video, you might just realize that you are probably doing it wrong. The very first reason that you may not be hearing anything on your Baofeng UV-5R or similar radio is because you have tones or codes set on the radio. And the reason for this is that if there are any received tones or codes, sometimes incorrectly referred to as privacy tones, you will not hear anything unless whatever it is you want to listen to is transmitting with that same tone or code. Allow me to elaborate. If there are any tones enabled on a Baofeng UV-5R on the screen, you will see this little DCS or this little CT, indicating that either a CT-CSS, DCS, DPL, or privacy tone is enabled, just like it says in the user manual. So to disable those tones, if the screen says DCS, press the menu button, hit the up arrow until you find the R DCS menu option, press the menu button again, then use the up or down arrow to change it to off. Then press menu again to save the change. If the screen showed CT, then press the menu button, use the up arrow until you find the R CTCS option, press the menu button again, use the up or down arrow until you find the off setting, and finally, press the menu button one final time to save the change. The next thing to check is to ensure that the Squelch setting is not set too high. The Squelch is the setting on the radio that blanks out all of that annoying static, and it can be a very helpful option. However, if the Squelch is set too high, you may not be able to hear anything at all. A good place to start for the Squelch setting is at about 1 or 2, so to change it, press the menu button, find the SQL menu item, press the menu button again, use the up or down arrow to set your Squelch at 1 or 2, and lastly, press the menu button again to save the setting. Another very important menu setting that you should also ensure is always set to on is menu item number 39. So to enable that, press the menu button, use the up or down arrow buttons until you find menu option number 39. Press the menu button again, use the up or down button to change it to on, and then press menu one last time to save this very important setting. Only after you are certain, beyond any shadows of the doubt, that the settings on your radio are correct, if you are still not able to listen to whatever it is that you wanted to listen to, there may be several other reasons why you are not able to hear whatever it is that you think is so important. First of all, I assume you have the volume on your radio turned up. However, I am fully aware that a lot of people are stupid. Really, really stupid. Of course, I know that you are not stupid. So for everyone else, make sure that the volume on your radio is turned up. You can do this by holding your radio in your non-dominant hand and then use your phalanges to twist the volume knob in the same direction that the hands on your clock move, thusly. If you have only digital clocks in your basement, you may have to ask a grown-up for help. The next thing to consider is is there even anything in your area to listen to? If you are in a big city, then there is probably plenty of noise and stuff to hear. However, if you live in the middle of nowhere, it is entirely possible that you are not going to hear anything on your Baofeng UV-5R or similar radio. Further, you must also ensure that you are tuning in to the correct frequency for whatever it is that you are trying to hear. But even if whatever you want to listen to is right down the street, if you are not listening on the right frequency, you will not gonna be hearing it. One way to find out if there is anything nearby and to ensure that you are listening on the right frequency is to consult Google. However, whilst in consultation with the Google, one must bear in mind that the Baofeng UV5R and most other similar inexpensive radios of this type have a limited range of frequencies of which they can receive. To find out exactly what the range of frequencies is for your Pacific radio, simply check the user manual that you probably threw away without even ever looking at. Generally speaking, these inexpensive radios can receive frequencies from around 130 MHz up to around approximately 500 MHz. So for example, if you wanted to listen to something that is being transmitted on 825 MHz, because 825 is a bigger number than 500, this radio will not be able to pick it up. The Baofeng UV-5R and most of this type of low-cost radio devices have what us certified radio experts refer to as an analog receiver. For those of you that went to public schools, analog means old-fashioned and is also sometimes referred to as not a digital radio. This means that this radio and pretty much all of these cheap Chinese radios do not pick up any digital protocols such as P25 and XDN DMR or encryption. What I am saying to you right now is this radio cannot pick up anything that is not plain old-fashioned analog radio waves, just like Grandpa used to make. And just so that some people do not leave stupid comments trying to show everyone how smart they think they are, I should probably clarify that this radio actually can receive those digital signals. However, the radio cannot decode said digital signals. So all you would hear is this. The Baofeng UV-5R and pretty much all walkie-talkie radios that cost less than around $100 or so of monies are SoC or System on a Chip type radios, known by us certified and accredited radio experts as homodyne type radios, as opposed to the more expensive radios with super heterodyne type guts and circuitry. For all of you non-sanctioned, non-radio experts, this means that amongst other things, these cheap Chinese radios are not very sensitive. And by this, I do not mean that they did not cry when they watched that movie where the little boy got stung by all of those bees and died, or that they laughed when Bambi's mama died. Nay, when I use this highly technical term, sensitive, I am referring to the fact that the radio do not hear stuff too good, especially with the crappy antenna that comes with it. Remember, this is a $20 radio, not some $700 handcrafted radio dork arousal device. Some of the things that you can do that might help with this blatant lack of sensitivity would be to go outside and try to listen, find higher ground to listen from, or simply hold the radio up higher. You could also try purchasing a better, bigger, better quality antenna. However, I should also mention that some people claim that connecting a big giant antenna to these radios might overload the cheap, low-quality homodyne type circuitry, causing the radio to actually hear less stuff than with the cheap antenna that comes with it. And whilst I have connected several of my Baofeng UV-5R radios to the big antenna on the roof of my estate, and I never experienced this Vimamamam, I cannot completely rule out its possibility. There may be other reasons why you cannot hear anything on your Baofeng UV-5R or similar radio, but if I'm being honest, I don't really care anymore. The point here is that if you have done all of these things correct and you are still not hearing whatever it is that you wanted to listen to, the two most likely reasons are, number A, you are doing it wrong, or number 2, your radio is defective. And just allow me to point out that your radio is probably not defective.